Hey folks, my name is Mo Amir and this is VANCOLOUR, British Columbia's bona fide culture and politics TV talk show. What's a pie scraper? Well, we're going to find out with the local but internationally celebrated pie artist who invented it. Plus, Netflix comedian Ivan Decker is going to blow off some steam about traffic. But first, have you heard of Canada's productivity problem? Well, according to the Bank of Canada, it's an emergency. But what does all of this mean exactly? Here to explain is a former executive director of the Laurier Institution, an Order of Canada recipient who served the federal government for 2 decades, economist Dr. Roslyn Kunin. Dr. Kunin, thanks so much for beaming in tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I'm seeing all these headlines about Canada's low productivity problem and how it's an emergency that's reached crisis levels. So what does it mean for Canada's economy to have low productivity?
Well, I like to think of it from the point of view of as an individual. Productivity is what you, as an individual, as an employee, produce. It is the maximum amount anyone can pay you. If you produce a lot, employers can pay you a lot. If you aren't producing very much, employers will go out of business if they pay you more than you're producing. And productivity is the amount you can produce, usually we say productivity per day or per hour, and so on. And right now, Canadian productivity has been going down. We as individual workers and collectively in the country are producing less than we were before, less than we were on a per capita basis for each individual. And that means our standard of living as an individual has been falling. The country is doing okay because population is going up, but as individuals, we're getting poorer because we're not as productive as we could be. What we can do to become more productive is, as an individual, you could always get more education, more experience, more skills, and contribute more to an employer and get more. But we also need to have technology, capital investment, all the kinds of things that make for a good place to work and make you worth a better salary.
And so all of this actually makes inflation a lot worse, right? Because it's more costly to produce goods. Is that right?
Yes, things are getting bad in both directions. On the one hand, we're less productive. We have less capacity to earn. On the other hand, the cost of everything from rent to our apartment to groceries in the grocery store is going up.
How did we get here? Like, is it because Canadian capital is being spent on land and real estate rather than technology, research and innovation, things that would make production a lot cheaper?
We don't have an environment that is encouraging investment. A lot of Canadian companies are not investing in research and development, which is very important. They're not investing in capital and equipment, which is also very important. And there are many reasons for it. Some say that the taxes are so high here that it doesn't pay to invest. Uncertainty really deters investment. And there's a lot of uncertainty doing business. You have to be very brave to do business. You have to assume that the things that you're planning on are going to happen. The taxes are not going to change drastically, that you aren't going to run into an uncertain situation with respect to land use or First Nations or the environment or things like that, that will make all your plans not particularly applicable. So this uncertainty is it really deters investment. If we could have an environment where we say, we're going to make a good set of environmental laws and a good reconciliation with the First Nations, and this is what it is and it's going to be, that would encourage a lot more investment, a lot more productivity.
So certainly there are Canadian companies that are making money. So instead of reinvesting in technology or research and development, where are they putting that money?
Well, I'm thinking of an example I heard in the mining industry where they put their investment into a mine in Chile because it was taking them 2 years to get the necessary permits and permissions and so on for environmental reasons, for First Nations reasons and other reasons to open a mine in Canada. And they said, we've waited long enough. There are silver mines in Chile. We're going to go down there.
Wow. So ultimately, what can be done about this? How do we get our economy to be a highly productive economy?
Our government has to start thinking of business as the means to develop productivity, as the means to develop technology, capital investment, and make people productive, and give them an environment that makes it easier for them to do, give them more certainty. Sure, we need taxes. Sure, we need to look after the environment. But if you do it in a way that said, this is what we're going to do, And then business knows and they can proceed. If you are continually making ad hoc changes out of the blue and unforeseeable changes, then that discourages investment and it makes us less productive.
Is there anything else in specifically that we can do to encourage companies to invest in research and development specifically?
If they have a more competitive environment, then they are more encouraged to invest and become productive and do new things. If there is less competition because of tariffs or for any other reasons, because we have more monopolies and things like our phone companies and so on, then there's no encouragement to invest because they can do just well, thank you, without making any new major changes.
Well, I certainly hope that Canada can reverse this trend. Dr. Kunin, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Folks, that was economist Dr. Roslyn Kunin. Now, after some business, Juno Award-winning comedian Ivan Decker is here, and he's got some grievances to air about traffic in Vancouver. That's up next.